Hello, welcome to this system design and object oriented design tutorial series. I am Bala Subramanian. Today we are going to look into a problem statement of coming up with a object oriented design, and we will also touch up a little bit on how do we think about scale when we implement in terms of system design as well. The problem statement that we are going to look into is parking lot, how to come up with a design for parking lot. This is a widely asked question because of the nature of the question. So it requires very less explanation, and it can be this question is asked widely in whiteboarding as well, on and also take home assignments as well. And for those people who are looking to experiment or learn, this also is a very good problem statement to explore and start with. So with that being said, let us look into the requirements of the or the problem statement. So we all know about parking lot, because somehow or other we would have parked our vehicle in a common parking lot at some time in our life. With that being said, this requirement handles it talks about having a coming up with a parking lot solution for a multi-storied building or multi-storied parking lot. This same solution can be modified for, or with very little modification it's going to work for open parking lots with different separations as well. uh, so the requirement goes like this: a parking lot has multiple floors and multiple entry and exit points. So this parking lot might have more than one entry and more than one exit, and it is a given that it has more than one floor. So the entry of the parking lot is the one which is going to record the entry, and the exit point is going to record the exit, and also payment gets initiated at that point of time. If you go to a multi mall or somewhere else, this is how the parking lot would be designed. A parking lot contains multiple floors, which is already said. The parking lot also contains different types of parking lots. So what are those types? That also is given in the statement. For handicapped, which is or abled parking lot, we can say a car parking lot, a large parking lot. For example, those lots would be used for the internal users, like a bigger van who should be able to park. It will be used for unloading and offloading of the services. So that also is taken into consideration. Motorbike, there are also electrical chargeable parking lots for car, and e-bike also is considered, because given the nature the industry is moving, so we have to come up with these as well. These are the use cases, but in system wise everything is handled in the similar way. Yeah, parking is based on first come first served basis. Uh, Time is recorded at the time of issuing the ticket. So at the time of people entering in the using the entry gate or the entry panel, a ticket is issued. We have to issue the ticket. The time is recorded at the exit panel also. Based on that, the charges are calculated. That is also given in the requirement. User should be able to pay for the ticket at the time of exit. That is also given. So these are the user cases where this is how the user flows are modeled around. And the next is the admin case. For example, if the parking lot has come up, admin should be able to add and modify parking lots, parking floors as they come in. It should be customizable by the admin. They can add a parking lot and they can remove a certain parking lot so that it is reserved for some people, for internal workers, and it should not be shown as available parking lots at the entry. So that is also given in the requirement. People should be able to add floor. Admin should be able to add a floor, a slot, and a parking lot. Admin should be able to add entrance and exit panels. So if there is a new entry which we have planned, and they should be able to add it to the system. It should a new exit also comes up, they should be able to add it. So it should be extendable. That is the core point behind this requirement. Users are issued a ticket only when the slot is available. So it is not like I take the ticket and search for it. So at the entrance only a ticket is issued. As the user is allocated the slot, the inventory also gets updated. For example, if somebody gets a ticket, immediately the inventory of the number of slots which are available gets reduced. As the user leaves the parking lot, that time also the inventory gets updated. So this has to happen as people leave it, the next person should be able to utilize the parking lot immediately. These are the this is the problem statement. Given this problem statement, I have come up with somewhere around 27 test cases which I can think of immediately, which are core test cases. We can extend these test cases to as many as we can, but I am going to cover at the end of the solution. After demonstrating the solution, I am going to show all these test cases are working as well. So we will revisit the test cases at later point of time. With that being said, let us directly jump into our code and look into the data models first, and then we will walk through the flow, and finally we will be running the test cases. I have categorized this code into three models. One is the common, which is going to cut across all the other flows. One common account model, which is going to deal with the account related things, which is like users, admin. Those all will come under account. There are models which are grouped under parking, which are related to the parking lots, and the other group is around vehicle. These are the three categories which I have grouped up with. Okay, so we are looking into a Java-based solution that is taken, but the same thing will work for any other language as well, Go or whatever, Python or whatever it is. First, let us look into the account model. So account, an account has an ID. Every account has an ID, has an email ID. Every account comes with a username, a password, and the last accessed date and time, and the contact details of it. Why do we need the last access to date and time? So someday somebody comes and says that when is the account last accessed? If we need to expire certain accounts, which people stopped visiting us, we should be able to use it for these purposes. So that is the reason. Then we have a property called last accessed. Then and every account has a contact, because we might have to store the contact details of an admin or a privileged customer. We might have to note down the contact. If people are coming and parking for a very long duration, they may come and give the contact details. So that's when we need to model the contact. Okay, let us look into the contact. A contact has a phone number, an email, and also address and some personal information. This usually we will capture the contact details by default for administrative users or the employees of the parking lot, but we would not capture these details for the users, because as they come and go we need not capture it. But there are use cases where it may come like somebody will come and park their vehicle for monthly basis or whatever it is. In that case we might need to able to track them when in case of emergency or whatever it is. That is why we need to capture it. So we need to capture the contact details irrespective of whoever user it is, given that these are the circumstances that may come. Okay, we in the contact we will have a phone, we will have an email ID, and the address of the person and the personal info. Let us look into what the address field contains. An address contains with the global address format is what we have to think and use it, because the solution should be able to we should be able to deploy this in different countries as such. So we might have to adapt it to the global address model. This is how I have come up with, and most likely it will adhere to the global address model as well. Address line 1, line 2, and address line 3 will have a street, city, state, or province, whatever it is, however we may name it, and the country, and the pin code of it. The pin code can be changed to a zip code and whatever it is based on the country's naming convention, but this is how I have come up with, and most likely this model would serve to any country. And the personal information of the user. What is the first name of the user, what is the last name of the user, what is the middle name of the user, and the initials and the date of birth. This usually we will capture for administrator. I don't want to repeat it again. With this we have modeled an account. This is how we need to model an account, and this is the same model we will use across whenever we want to capture an account for a particular user. Okay, so you carefully go through it, the account details with the previous solutions also. It would be similar model that I would be using in all the places. Then we will go take an admin. So admin is a user the admin as a user can perform certain additional operations on top of it. So that is what we are going to see. Let us look into the operations later, but an admin extends an account. This is what we need to see, and there are no extra properties which an admin has which a user does not have. This is what I have modeled for this use case. So if you see, there are no extra methods that we are doing it here. With this, the entire account model is done. Let us look into the vehicles. What are the models with regards to vehicle? We will look into it. So I have modeled an abstract class called vehicle, and every vehicle, every type of vehicle, which is car, bike, motorbike, van, truck, everybody is going to, every other model is going to extend from the vehicle. So we might need to capture the 10 details of the vehicle which are required for this solution. So let us look into what are those properties. I have captured the license plate number, which is very much required for before the vehicle is getting parked. Assume like we have a multi-storied automatic parking, which is going to capture the license plate number automatically, and it is going to print that as part of the ticket. So we need to get the license number of it. What is the type of the vehicle? So vehicle type is an enum. Let us look into the vehicle types. So that is been given in the problem statement that these are the vehicle types. We should be able to add as many vehicle types as we want. Okay, vehicle type is car, vehicle type is can be truck, electric vehicles. Electric vehicle means I am talking about electric car, van, motorbike, and e-bike. These are the vehicle types that we are all thinking of to model. And every vehicle which is getting into the parking lot should have the associated parking ticket. So this way we would be able to track with the vehicle number how many times it is parked, or from that we would be able to get all the parking tickets associated with the appropriate vehicle number also we should be able to. So the vehicle has a parking. This is an association vehicle as a parking ticket. So at the time of creating a vehicle, because vehicle we should capture the license number and the vehicle type, which is important. So we cannot initialize, we should not be allowed to initialize a vehicle without a license number and the vehicle type. So these are the mandatory things which are required for the vehicle to exist in when it comes to the parking lot as a domain problem that we are talking about. So I have captured that along with while I initialize the vehicle as well. Let us look into all the other vehicle types one by one. A car extends a vehicle because the vehicle, whatever the properties which we have to capture as part of vehicle, we have captured, and since it takes a license number as a constructor, this is passing the license number to the super, and the vehicle type is initialized to car. This is the simple model about car. While we initialize a car, vehicle equal to new car, we should be passing the license number, and we know we are initializing a car. I am setting the vehicle type by default to car along with the initialization. Okay, let us look into motorbike. Electric motorbike is also extending a vehicle, and it takes a constructor which is a license number and passing the license number and the vehicle type as e-bike, initializing the vehicle type to e-bike and passing it to the super constructor. Similar is the case with electric car. We have a type called electric car because a parking slot for a electrical motorbike would be different, and a parking slot for an electrical car is different, and a normal car is different, because a parking slot for a normal car might not contain a slot for charging the vehicle or battery of the vehicle, right? So for an electrical bike spot, there might be a different charge associated with it. That is why we have modeled the vehicles differently rather than simple. So even if it is a electric car, if they don't opt for a normal charging if they opt for a normal parking slot, that should be allocated. But if they specifically ask, I need a slot with the charging capacity with the charging requirement, we should be able to allocate only that. That is why we are modeling those car, bike and electric separately. So motorbike also extends a vehicle, and it takes the license number as the constructor in the constructor, and passes the license number and initializes the vehicle type to motorbike and doing it. Truck, it is also similar. It takes the license number. We have a vehicle type called van. we have a that's what it is. So we might be able to add different vehicle types as it come in, right? So if consider we have modeled the vehicle in such a way so that it is extendable, so we are taking care of the extensibility by coming up with the different types of vehicle and also taking care of different types of enums. So let us look into why how this enum will be used later, but this is how we can achieve the extensibility in terms of a design of a vehicle. Now let us go into the core thing, parking. So every we are designing a parking lot. So as we talk about the problem statement, we should be able to visualize the problem statement in such a way that okay, users are going to park vehicle where it is in parking lot, and a parking lot is not an abstract thing. A parking lot contains different floors and different slots. So suddenly we should be able to think and come up with these models in our mind. We need to run through the entire problem statement in mind. So minimally what is required, that is how I have explained as well. Users are going to park, so account is required and the users are required. That is what I have explained first. Users are going to park what? They are going to park vehicles, so I have model vehicles second. So where they are going to park? They are going to park their vehicles in a parking lot. So this is how I am explaining the solution. And when you are thinking also, you should think like this flow. If we approach the problem statement in a way like this, we should be able to model the classes, or come up with the data models in a nice way in an interview, or when you are taking a problem statement in your real time also, you should be able to ask this and put it in your paper and pencil. We should be able to model things in the nice way, and then we need to model associations in a nice way. So a parking spot should contain a vehicle. Parking floor will contain parking spots. This is how we need to think through and model it. With that being said, let us jump into modeling the parking lot. So what a parking lot contains, every parking lot will have a parking lot ID. And it has an address. So that is why I have modeled the address in the common namespace. The parking lot is associated with an address. Let us just revisit the address for this is the global address model that we are talking about. This will contain the address line 1, line 2, line 3. So if we are having a mall chain of malls, and if we are going to add parking from a centralized place, or manage the parking lot in from a centralized place by an admin, this is how we need to do it. That is why I have modeled this address in a common. So address is used for users as well, address is used for parking lots as well. So every parking lot has an address, and has an address, and also it has a lot, as told in the requirement. A parking lot contains more than one floor. So what we need to do when it contains more than one floor, suddenly we should think okay, there are list of floors, or the array of floors, whatever way we can think of. So array, why are we not going with a fixed size array? We might not be able to reinitialize array in a very easier way, so we are going with an expandable collection class, which is list. Yeah, and the parking lot also contains. We said that admin should be able to add entrance and exit panels, so they might have come up with multiple entry and exit. So we, as told in the requirement, immediately we should think that okay, there should be something called entry, and we need to model the entry. And since it is going to be an automated parking lot, we are coming up with an entrance panel, which gives which is where the users are making an entry, and there are a lot of the other ways to exit as well. There might be more than one exit. So we are coming up with a list of exit panels. This is how a parking lot is modeled. I modeled this parking lot as a singleton class. Why? Because although it contains multiple entries and exit, we should not be creating more than one instance of a parking lot and operating at any point of time. That would add confusions, and somebody would be able to, we are modifying the parking lot or adding floors to it. For the others, it will not be visible. If somebody is operating on one instance and parking their vehicle with one instance of a parking lot, and returning the vehicle from other instance of parking lot, it becomes difficult to coordinate. So the entire parking lot is modeled as a singleton instance. It contains every other thing. So this is how I have modeled in terms of object oriented design as of now, because there cannot be multiple parking lots running all together. Am I right? we are not thinking about a web-based solution as of now. If it is a web-based solution, what happens is multiple instances will be running. We will be storing those in a single database which is replicated or whatever it is. That should be handled at the backend in a different way. We can have multiple instances of the web service running behind, and they will be coordinating with a single backend. Thereby we might be limiting the duplicate of records in that place. But since this is an object-oriented solution, we should think of a parking lot should be a singleton instance. This is what we need to be very careful about modeling the parking lot, and this is an important point to note when we model the parking lot. We have to initialize this, right? This is a collection class. At the time of creating the parking lot, we are initializing the array list. So as we initialize the parking lot, the next thing that we need to look into is parking floor. What a parking floor contains. Pay careful attention to the getters and setters. I am not putting getter and setter for every property that we have here. Pause the video and carefully understand why certain properties does not have setters, why certain property have setters. Please go through it. The code is available in GitHub. You should be able to get it. Every parking floor has a floor ID. Okay, it can be a number or a string. I have modeled as a string. If somebody wants to model as a f1, f2, f3, it need not be integer as well. And a floor will always contain multiple slots. If we look into here, this is the parking floor. It contains multiple slots. The images explain very well. So it is like E1, E2, E3. Assume like these are all electrical things, electrical parking lots on the right hand side. On your left hand side, it might be a normal parking slots. This is what we need to assume about. And every floor contains multiple parking spots. With this diagram, I am able to explain it very clearly. So I have used a parking spot type and the list of parking spots. I have used deck here. Deck is a doubly ended queue. Okay, we will be able to insert from the front and remove from the front. We should be able to insert from the rear and remove from the rear. Why I have used deck at the time of operation, explaining the methods, I would be able to clarify it. But think as of now, for understanding purpose, think that every floor contains a list of parking spots or a map of parking spots grouped by their types, because they all exist together. All cars will be parked in a similar fashion in a particular lane, and bikes will have a separate spot. That is what we want to assume. We have list of a parking spot type grouped by the spot type, and a list of lots also allocated for that particular spot type. So this is a parking spots. I have used another map which are used parking spots. Whenever somebody uses it, I will take it from here and then push it to the used. Whenever somebody returns it, used will go to the available parking spots. This is how I have managed it. It can be managed with an integer, but it becomes a little difficult for me to manage. So I have used this method. There is no best method that we can talk about. We should be able to talk through to with our approach and present the advantages and disadvantages of using a list or an integer. With the integer or at the time of problem statement, we should be able to justify what is best for the solution. I have used toList. There are other approaches just to maintain with a single integer. I see this is an advantage for me. I have used it. Okay. How a parking floor is initialized? A parking floor has to be initialized with an ID, which is very mandatory. You cannot create a parking floor without an ID. So I am taking in the constructor. And all the slots within the floor are initialized with the appropriate collection classes. So we will always come up with initialize with that, because this is a list, right? I have to initialize it with because it can grow and shrink as and when it can. So I'm just initializing it with a new property of concurrent linked deque. We will look into why we have used concurrent deque little later, but this is what is the model of a parking floor. Now the next thing that we need to look into is a parking floor contains multiple parking spots. Let us look into what a parking spot contains. A parking spot will have an associated parking spot ID, which we said E1, E2, E3, B1, B2, B3, some kind of numbering system that we can follow to identify the parking spot. Also, the numbering system we should think in such a way that it is sortable easily. So if motorbikes are there, MB1, MB2, MB3, it would become easy for us to sort. But there is no strict name convention that we need to follow as well. I prefer that way because considering this is a solution, right? We will not have an infinite number of spots available for a particular parking lot. Even the biggest of the big parking lot might be able to park 100,000 or 200,000 vehicles. I have not seen that, so think that way. Okay, a sequencing numbering with the prefix of that vehicle type is what I personally prefer. You might think through other approaches as well. And every parking spot should be able to indicate whether the vehicle is parked in that spot or not. I am just modeling a boolean variable whether it is free or not. The parking spot will be of different types because a particular vehicle should be parked on the parking spot, and the parking spot also should have a parking spot type. So I am not going to use the same vehicle type here. There will be something called parking spot type. There should be a mapping between your vehicle type and the parking spot type enum. That is what we will be looking into later. But that requires a transformation from these two. What are the types of parking spots which are available? One is able to parking spot. This is how I want to use it, but a handicapped is what I is listed here. If you take I have used a able parking spot here. You should not use this word. I certainly don't like it. I'll rename it. I've renamed it the parking slot to a abled parking slot, and there are slots which are available. We have to model the abled spots separately because that usually will be in the front, and it would have a easy way to enter and exit in out of the parking lot easily. It should be near to the left. So this is how abled parking lot would be usually designed. So we have to capture the parking spot separately. Car slot, large parking slot which where we will be able to park a van or a truck or whatever it is. So we have modeled that as a large parking slot rather than going for a specific van slot and a truck slot. So those mapping will be done internally. We'll have a motorbikes parking slot, electric car parking slot, and a e-bike parking spot. So with that, let us go into the parking. Okay, parking spot type we have looked into. Let us look into the park. How have we modeled the parking spots? So this is an abstract class, right? So we will look into how we have modeled those parking spot types. First of all, let us look into the abled parking spot. Abled parking spot inherits from the parking spot. So it has to take an ID, and which is passed to the super, and then the parking spot type is set to abled and is also passed along because the abled parking spot is initialized like this. So we know that this is the parking spot type, and I'm initializing it and passing it onto the super as well. Next is a car parking spot. A car parking spot also inherits from the parking spot, and it takes an ID and passes the type as a car to the super. Similar is the electrical biking parking spot. We have electric car parking spot. We can add as many parking motorbike parking spot. We have a large vehicle parking spot. Probably we can come up with a whatever parking spot. So if we think that if we need to add a specific type of parking spot in future based on the type of the parking spot that we have generated, it is extendable. So we need not go and modify every other place. We just need to add an enum and then initialize a new or create a new class with that parking spot type, and that extends the parking spot and make it available to users to use it. So the extensibility is taken care here is what I want to find it out. Okay, now we have looked into parking spot, parking lot, and parking spot type. Now let us look into the entrance and exit panels, which are the core part of the parking lot, which we need to look into. Let us look into what is an entrance panel. An entrance panel will have an ID at the time of initialization. Okay, so from the methods we will we revisit later, and the exit panel also is initialized like that. Exit panel also has an ID. The responsibilities of entrance and exit panel we will look into later. With that, I think we need to model payment. Why we need to model the payment? Because at the time of user moving out, they should be able to scan the ticket and then do the payment. That is what given in the requirement. A payment will have an ID. A payment is done for a particular parking ticket. So what is the ticket ID and what is the amount which is paid? These are the three properties which are required to be initialized at the time of instantiating the payment. So the next thing is payment is initiated. For example, this is what is the payment is initialized, and we will have to understand. We will have to model certain date fields, which is payment initiated date. Payment might be initiated now, and payment is finished 1 minute later. Payment completed state, and we are modeling something called payment status. A payment status may fall in between two. One is success and failed. Somebody has tried to initiate a payment, but it is successful. But and the other thing is it is failed. Based on the payment responses that we get back from the payment gateway, we would be able to set that as well. So payment portal also it is a similar case, which is like a payment. Somebody can go to the web portal and do the payment. We will look into that later. I have not modeled that, but this is how we need to. If we are to allow somebody to model do the payment from a web portal, this is how we need to model. And the same method which are available at the enter exit panel also should be available over there, and expose that via a web. We should be able to do it. We need to have a parking ticket. So let us find the ticket status where it is used. We have to model the parking ticket. For a person who comes in via the entry panel, they will get a parking ticket. That is also told in the requirement. So what a parking ticket is, a parking ticket will have a parking ticket number, and it should also have a license plate number, because the ticket is issued for what type of vehicle. Somebody has lost the ticket, they should be others should not be able to take the printed ticket and gain entry to it, and that would enable somebody, or that would bring in leaks and enable people to steal or something of that sort. That leak we should be avoided. We should have a clear parking ticket, so that when the person goes away, we can easily check whether the ticket is issued for this vehicle or not. For complaints purposes, we need to model it like this. I have modeled like this. Is what I would say. And with the parking ticket at the time of generation, we would say that this is the allocated spot. So if we are saying that this is the allocated spot, and with that, when we go there and do an audit, if it is parked in a different spot, it would be easy for us to do an audit. So we will be saying allocating at the time of generating the ticket only. We will allocate this is the parking spot ID. People will have to go and park. So when the ticket is issued at, this is what we need to model for a parking ticket. At the time of exit, we will say that this is the time the parking ticket is vacated. What are the charges between this issued and the vacated? There will be some hourly charges or something we can calculate. Based on that, we can come up with charges. And what is the ticket status? This is what we looked at. This is active, lost, vacated. We can use some properties, enums in and around that. So this is how we model the parking ticket. Okay, let us look into the responsibilities now. We have looked into how do we model the account, how do we model the vehicle, and the parking, different models associated with the parking lot. Everybody should have some responsibilities so that we can perform the entire user flow, right? So we are going to look into the methods which does the user flow, which works as part of the user flow. An admin should be able to add a parking floor that is given the requirement. So what we do is we will be initializing the parking floor and then adding to it. And first let us look into the methods, and then we will walk through the logic one by one. Admin should be able to add a parking spot to a particular parking floor. This is the second method. Admin should be able to add an entrance panel. Admin should be able to add an exit panel. These are the four things which are given in the requirement. We have modeled it. Now let us look into how are we doing with the adding of parking floor. So when admin is trying to add a parking floor, we have modeled this parking lot as a singleton instance. We are ensuring that no two people will be adding it, because it is all is done in memory, right? So we have created a singleton instance, but if it is not a singleton instance, the same thing would be handled at the repository layer. If two admins are working to add more than one parking floor, they should be able to do it by handling the concurrency at the backend side. Now since we are going to model in an object oriented way, we are doing it at the code itself. We should be able to talk through this at the time of interview, or probably while we think through it also. This is how we have to model the concurrency. This is how we need to handle idempotency. We need to talk through all these things in terms of system design as well. Idempotency plays an important role in terms of distributed system design. And when we look into all the tutorials, we would be handling that idempotency at any point of time while we do any of the operations. Let us look into how are we handling idempotency here. When we are trying to add a parking floor, we take a singleton instance of it and get to the parking floor. Filter if the parking floor is already added or not. If the parking floor is already present, we are just returning it. We are not adding to it. This is called idempotency. Idempotency is if we perform the same operation twice, which is an addition, not modification, right? Additions and the get are mostly idempotent operations. So we need to talk to that as well. Can an update be an idempotency? People will ask. No, update cannot be an idempotent operation, because update is a stateful operation, but addition and get are mostly stateless operations. Whether the final state is determined, we should not be adding it the same thing twice, right? And the properties don't change at the time of addition. That is why addition is an idempotent operation. Get also is we are getting a view of it, and unless somebody modifies it, even if I issue the same query against an object which has a fixed state of it, we should be able to get the same result. So we should be able to perform that in idempotent manner. Additions are mostly idempotent. Get is not, but additions are idempotent. So if the floor is present, I am returning it, and if it is not present, I am getting the parking floors, because the parking floors is a list of object, and add the parking floor to it. So this is how we have added, and this is only an admin operation. If you take a user or any other person, will not have the add parking floor. So we are handling that. Only an admin would be able to add a parking floor as well. This is an operation only which is exposed. If you take an account does not have these operations. Account cannot do it. So we are able to handle encapsulate that only certain methods are available for certain people to perform properly. So add a parking spot. For a parking floor, we can operate on a singleton instance. For a parking spot, we need a floor ID, and we are taking a new parking spot to be added. And if the floor doesn't exist, we throw an invalid floor parking floor exception, because we are trying to add. If we accidentally type, or if there is an incorrect in floor numbering, we are throwing that exception. First of all, we are going to get the parking floor from the parking lot. Parking lot dot get parking floors will get all the parking floors. We are going to check if the floor exists or not. If the floor exists, then we are going to proceed with the addition of new parking spot in the floor. Otherwise, we throw a invalid parking floor exception. This is important. Now we also do idempotent addition of the parking spot. Why it is important? Because if the parking spot is already added, we should not be sometimes we think of that user click the button twice, so we should not be adding it twice. We are going and checking in the particular floor, get all the parking spots, check whether the parking spot is present or not with the ID. If it is present, don't add it. If it is not present, add it. This is what is the logic that we have implemented. The next is add of the entrance panel. It is a similar operation that we are doing, but addition of panel is done at the parking lot level, not at the floor level. So we are checking, we are getting the entrance, whether the entrance panel is already added to the parking lot or not. That is done here, and if it is present, we don't add it. If it is not present, we are adding it. This is the addition of entrance panel. Similar is the workflow for exit panel. I don't want to delay this tutorial by explaining that. Let's look into it. You take time to look into it. This is the workflow of admin. Let us look into the workflow of a parking lot now. So we should be able to check whether the parking lot is full or not. So what am I doing it here? I'm using a bit set. Let us look into why do we need to use it. For each parking floor, okay, I am checking whether the parking floor is full or not. If the parking floor is full, I am setting that bit set I am setting that bit set index to index. For example, if we have 10 floors, we are going to create a bit set with which is of size 10, and that 10 will be set to 11111. Okay, and if the bit set's cardinality is equal to the bit set size, it means the parking lot is full. Think of like this. Let me write it here. Assume like a bit set is a set. You know, a set cannot contain duplicates. So a bit set contains like this 1 1 1. Assume like we have three floors which are initialized to 0 0 0. Um, and we are checking, we are saying that first floor is full, second floor is not full, third floor is full. If the bit sets cardinality means if all these are set, it would return. I'm comparing it with the size of the bit set. If it is same, then we are doing it, otherwise we are not doing it. This is how, what is the logic that we are using. It's a small memory overhead. With the same small memory overhead, we are going to check no, the bit set cardinality is the size in the bit set and compared with the actual size of the bit set. If it is equal, we are setting it, otherwise we are not setting, otherwise we are saying that it is not full. Let us look into can park. If it is not full, we should be able to check whether they can park or not. I will go and check in the I will, for that user is coming and checking whether given the vehicle type, whether the user is able to park or not. That is what we are checking. For each parking floor, we will go and check whether they can park a particular vehicle or not, and if they can park, I am returning true in between, otherwise at the end I am returning false. This is the logic that we have done. What we have to do, we have to check in every floor, which is a O of n operation. We can try to minimize this and optimize this later based on different optimization principles, but for this use case we are just looking into exploring how can we do the operation and how do we segregate the responsibility. Optimization can be talked later or thought about later as well. Given a particular vehicle type, somebody has to get the parking spot. So get parking spot given the vehicle type. I am going and checking in the floor whether for this particular vehicle type I would be able to get a parking spot or not. If I am able to get in a particular floor, I am returning it, otherwise we cannot get a parking spot and returning null. That is the thing that we are doing. And vacate. So we are going to vacate the parking spot given the parking spot ID. For that particular floor, check the parking spot and then vacate it. If the parking spot is not null, and I'm returning the parking spot and I'm saying that vacate, we will look into the vacate method in the parking floor. What is the logic over there? So these are all the methods that I can think of while we model the parking lot. Let us look into parking floor methods in the parking floor. This is where we have used a deck and a map. I told I will explain later, and this is the time we are going to look into it. So why are we having a deck? Usually a parking strategy we can implement. Assume that somebody is going to park the vehicle for 8 hours. We need not allocate the front, the very first parking lot. And somebody is parking for 1 month or whatever it is, we can allocate the farthest parking spot, so that first of all it is not getting disturbed by anybody, and they can go there and park and come back. For those people, if they are taking for 1 hour to a parking thing, we can allocate the first available. So if we need to implement a different parking strategy, usually it would be like farthest and the nearest parking strategy, right? That can easily be achieved by using a deck. What we are going to do, we are going to deck is some data structure where we should be able to insert from the front and remove from the front, and insert from the rear and remove from the rear. So if we have to push it from the rear and we need a farthest parking strategy, we should be able to insert it at the rear. Now if we have to insert in the front, we should be able to do it. This is what and this can be done in OAuth 1 operation. That is why I am using a deck. uh, that I hope that this justifies the use of it. And used parking spots. Whenever somebody parks into this parking spot, I am adding, removing this from the deck and then pushing it to the parking spot. Why we need, why I have modeled this as a map? When somebody vacates the parking spot, we need to get that in OAuth 1 operation rather than a OAuth n operation. Assume this is modeled, the used parking spot is modeled as a list. What we need to do is we need to iterate through the entire parking spot with the appropriate parking spot ID and then remove it. But if we have modeled this as a map with the parking spot ID, I should be able to remove it from the map. So to support the operations in a very nice way, we have used touched based on using right data structures as well. I hope this justifies. We have looked into isFull. The isFull operation on a particular floor, what it does is similar is what I am using the bit set. You can trace through the code and understand how this exactly works, and we also have a driver code to test the test cases behind it. We will walk through it. I will explain in a high level manner. For each entry in the parking spots, I am checking whether the size is 0 or not. If it is 0, I am incrementing it, otherwise coming back. Finally, comparing the cardinality with the bit set size, it means the entire floor is full. What are we trying to do? There are different parking spot types which are available. I am going and iterating through each one of these, one car, abled, large, motorbike and electric, and check whether every spot is occupied by checking the size of it. If everything is 0, we are saying the floor is full, otherwise it is not full. That is what is we are doing it. And as we said, there should be a mapping for a vehicle type to a parking spot type, because parking spot types are modeled in a different way, vehicle types are different. So a sedan might be a vehicle type, but otherwise here the car should be able to hold a sedan or a SUV or whatever it is, right? So similarly, a mapping is available for a parking spot type to the parking lot type. When it is a car, I am going to return a car. When it is electric, I am going to return an electric. Motorbike. The default is a large parking spot I am going to give. A truck, van and all are modeled into a large parking spot type. And check, can we, next method that we are going to look into is, can we park a vehicle? So what it does, whether the parking spot contains, okay, this parking spot type. So we go to the map and check whether the list, the parking, this is the map. So when somebody comes and says that I am going to give park a motorbike, I'll go and check with this key motorbike, and this list size which is greater than 0, which means that I will be able to park. That is the method that we are doing, and this is a OAuth 1 operation. So can we park it? Yes, if we can park it, it is a OAuth 1 operation that we are going to look. So I'm going to get the spot. First of all, I'm going to check whether I can park. If I am not able to park, I am returning null. Otherwise, get the spot for a particular vehicle. I am mapping the vehicle type to the parking spot type, and getting an item. Poll means it's a queue, right? I'm going to poll it. So I'm going to poll it and then return the parking spot. I'm going to, once it is polled, the parking spot is out from the map, and I'm going to put that into the used parking spot. It means that one is we are doing two atomic operation here. One, removing from the existing parking spot and pushing it to the used parking spot. So we have to synchronize it, because two people may come with the same vehicle type, and they should not be getting the same copy of the data. I am handling the synchronization here. It's a synchronized method. At any point of time, only one person would be able to take it. Since we are doing multiple atomic operations, I am putting a synchronized, and assume that this is going to be running under a multi-threaded environment. It is going to work. So you can highlight this as well. So vacate parking spot. So no two people can vacate at any point of time. So that is why it is not synchronized. What vacate does? It removes from the used parking spot and then pushes it to the free parking spot, so that the others would be able to see it. So what are the other things that we can do at this point of time? People may ask that after removing it, publish it to a display board so that it is visible. We can model something called a display board and increment that and push this and have an observable pattern and push this as and when it is available, push it to the display board. So whatever the display boards, how many ever display boards that we are adding to it, they should be able to subscribe to this event, and then they should be able to update it as well. So if somebody is giving a requirement that it should be available at the display board, without much change in the model or change in the interface, we should be able to do it. So with this we can also prove that our solution is working and extendable with less modification. Next we will look into the parking spot. So we are just having one method which is called assign vehicle to it. So now entrance panel and exit panel we need to look into. Entrance panel is where we are going to get the ticket, right? So we need to user is going to get the ticket from the entrance panel. I'm going and checking, or we are going and checking whether we can park or not. If we are not able to park, we are returning null, or whatever, we can throw an exception here. But for simplicity, I'm returning null, right? You can throw an exception that parking spot full, and then take that message and then give it a polished message as well. I am returning null as of now. The best way is to throw an exception in that case. I am getting the parking spot. If the parking spot itself is null, then I am returning null. Otherwise, I am building a ticket. So what is built as a ticket? We need to take in the vehicle number and the parking spot ID. With that, I am going to build the ticket. So vehicle, while the parking ticket is initialized, issue date is the time that we are generating the ticket. The allocated spot ID is what we are going to get it from the parking spot ID. We are going to add the license number from the vehicle, and the ticket number is randomly generated and putting a ticket number, and set the ticket status to active. And we are building the ticket and returning the ticket at this point of time. Exit panel is used to scan and vacate, right? As we go to the exit panel, we should be scanning and vacating the parking lot. So we are using the vacate parking spot parking lot method. Over there, it is going to go and to the appropriate floor and vacate that parking lot which we have looked into it. And we need to set the charges, right? We need to calculate the cost, because for the parking, when somebody is vacating, we need to calculate the spot. So we will set the charges by doing a calculate cost. We can have different calculation logic for car, hourly charges, monthly charges, or whatever it is. I am going to simply tell you only one hourly cost, and it is a map which says that for car it is the fixed charges is this, large vehicle this is the charge, electric, motorbike, and able, these all having only fixed charges. So if we need to come up with a different cost structure, we can add different cost structure, and the calculate cost is going to have a different calculation strategy. We are going to implement a calculation strategy based on the parking ticket type or the parking method type, and we should be able to extend here as well. This is one extension solution. Whatever I am saying that it can be extended, it can be extended. This can be asked as an extension question as well. How do we can you come up with a different parking strategy? So that way we should be able to do it without much modification in the primary classes and the interfaces. And I am returning an amount here. With that being said, I am returning an amount here, and the calculate cost is done. And with that cost, with the ticket charges being calculated, they should be able to initiate a payment. Okay, with this we have come to we have discussed about the classes and the responsibility methods that every class is holding. Now let us look into the driver code. So whatever is the test cases that we have talked about, we are going to run it and see. So let us directly look into the test cases here, and then run it and show. Admin case 1, what is the case 1? Admin should be able to add a parking floor. Admin should be able to add one more parking floor. Admin should be able to add an entrance panel. Admin should be able to add an exit panel. Admin should be able to add a parking spot which is of car type. We are we can add as many parking spot type as we can, and bikes parking spot and another car parking spot. These are the test cases that we are going to see. What and all you can add on top of it. We can add test cases for different parking spot types. We can try to add the same parking spot types more than once and check whether idempotency is happening or not. We can extend these admin test cases to even hundreds, but for tutorial purposes or my education purposes, I am just limiting it to 5-6 test cases, and I have explained that how do we handle idempotency. Feel free to add test cases to it and raise a merge request. I should be able to merge it as part of the code. So let me run it and show. For the very first test case is that I am able to add a parking floor. Yes, we are able to add a parking floor which ran successfully. The second, we are adding two parking floors. Third, we are adding an entrance panel. Fourth, we are adding a exit panel, and we are getting the floor ID from here. We should be able to get it from that as well. We are adding a new car parking spot. We are which is an admin, right? We are initializing. If you take how are we initializing an account, it is an account, but we have to cast it to admin to perform this operation. Assume like if I put admin account dot, only get methods are coming. All the others should not be able to see any other. So only an admin should be able to perform these operations as well, not all the users. Other methods are hidden. This is what is encapsulation, which I told. Only admin is able to add all these operations. If it is a user, they will not be, and we are programmed to the abstract classes or interfaces or whatever we see. We have not coded to the concrete classes. So with these 7 test cases, we should be able to see the parking lot. What is the parking lot? I will debug and show. Hold on for a second. Let it debug so that we will be able to see visualize the parking lot from the debugger console that we are seeing. We should be able to see 2 car parking spots and 1 parking lot in the first floor of the parking lot. So this is a parking lot. Okay, sorry. Let's see. This is the parking floor. We have 1 floor, and parking lot dot instance. We have not initialized the ID. We will fix it later. Address is not initialized. For this test case, I should be able to address it. There is a small thing which I will address later. We have added 2 floors here. If you take here, we have added parking. What are the floors? Which is parking floor 1 and parking floor 2, which is visible here. Parking floor size 0 and 1. What is the zeros floor ID? Which is floor ID is first floor ID is 1, second floor ID is 2. Every floor has 5 different types of parking spots. If you see 5 different space, one is motorbike, car, able to large electric. It is a similar case here, motorbike, car. So what and all we have added? We have added 1 motorbike to the first floor and the 2 car to the second floor, and that is available. So all the test cases are passed here. Let me stop this, and then we would be able to look into the other test cases. Now we are going to check after initializing the parking lot, can we and adding parking floors and parking spots, we are going and checking whether we can park we can park a car or not, because we have added a car parking lot already. Parking spot to the first floor, we should be able to park. That is the first requirement we are giving. So let me execute this for you, and then evaluate this expression. The result is already in the console, so we should be able to park it. That is what we are saying. If we take the parking lot, now I have initialized with an ID and address. Previously it was missed, but that is okay. Sorry. So if it says that we can park it, now we are going to check whether we can park a e-bike. We have not added e-bike parking spot, so we should not be able to park a vehicle of this type. So we tested that whether, since we have not added a e-bike, it returns false. So let us go into the next statement as well, which is electric. Right, so let us see whether we will be able to park electric. So it is not. So we have added two car parking slots, and then one electric, one motorbike spot. So this returns false. Let us look into the next. right? So we are checking whether it is full or not. So now if no bike is parked or car is parked at this point of time, the is full should return false as well. So let me evaluate this expression and show it to you. So is full is false. So yes, we have not parked. So that is what is printed in the console as well. It would be difficult for me to navigate between these two and show the output, but that is written here. So you might be have to take the code and run it by yourself and see, but I'll try to show it in the debugger console as and when we can think of. So I'm getting an available spot. I'm initializing a new car with a license number, because as we told, when we are initializing the vehicle, we should have the license number, and we should be initializing the car automatically by a car vehicle type. I am checking whether available parking, whether there is an available spot or get to the available parking spot for a car. We should be able to get it, and usually yeah, fine, let me not debug too much. I'll show you. Okay, so the parking available spot, if we see available spot in the top, just a second, available spot is not null. So from the spot ID is 1, which is the first spot that we have initialized. The pole gives the first, and now it is been assigned. So is free is false. What is the parking spot type? It is car. Since we are getting the available spot, we have not scanned via the entrance panel. This is assigned vehicle ID is null. It should be giving assigned vehicle ID as we go through the appropriate approaches. This is just a driver code for you to test. Probably think of this as a unit test case. Okay, similar is the case. We should be able to get a van parking spot and then see that it is null. Okay, F9. I'll press F9. Okay, so the van spot is null because we don't have a van parking spot in our parking lot. It is coming as null, so that test case is passing. So now I'm getting the entrance panel that size. So we have added one entrance panel that should give the appropriate entrance panel's size as well. This is one test case which we want to cover up. So that many entrance panels should be, whatever added is should be present. That is the test case we have added here. User should be able to get a particular parking ticket for a particular parking vehicle type. So we are simulating the flow via an entrance panel. So what is this vehicle? This vehicle should be initialized to car, and we should be able to get the allocated parking spot ID. That is the next test case. So let me put a breakpoint here and then run. So if you take a look, we have the parking ticket here, and we have the parking ticket at the bottom of the console. Please take a careful look at the bottom. We have a ticket number, and the vehicle license plate number is also assigned. We have an allocated spot ID. Initially it is issued at this time, and it is not vacated, and the charges is 0, and the ticket status is active. Similarly, we are trying to get a parking ticket for another car that we should not be able to get. Let us go fast. Here these are all test cases. Now I am going to get a ticket for car. Again, we should be getting null because we have used the parking spots that we already have. Let me put a breakpoint here and then run. The ticket is null. If you see it here, the ticket is null. So we are not able to get parking when the parking spot is full. So we are even at the entrance panel, we will not be able to do get a parking ticket for a particular parking lot. This can be modeled in a different way. As I told that we can have a display board whether the user need not come to the parking spot and then scan and get for the ticket. If it is available in the display board only, they can see the display board and go away. But that is an extension use case that we need to handle. That's not part of the requirement which is given, but we can handle without much difficulty over here. Okay, now we are trying to park a motorbike, and the motorbike, there is a motorbike parking slot which is available. We go to the parking spot, we go to the parking floors, and parking floor 0, the parking spot available. If you see here, for motorbike there is one parking spot available, and that is the test case. Car is 0, it is showing. So we are able to check, we have added code to update the inventory as well, right? We are able to update the inventory as well properly. Now only one bike is available, 2 car are parked, so we are able to, should be able to get a parking ticket for bike. So if you see the ticket for motor vehicle has the motor vehicle ID, which is initialized to 4901. The allocated one is the first one which is available, issued at, and the charges are 0 active. Now we will test other test cases, as we should not be able to get the parking spot for other vehicles as well. We are trying to park another motor vehicle here, and we should not be able to get the parking spot. You see, this is unavailable. Unavailable should be null, because we have only one parking spot that is used for a different vehicle, and this is 0. If you see, the inventory is updated at the bottom to 0. Now we can check whether we can park a vehicle after using all the parking spots. Those are the test cases that we are trying to do it here. We should not be able to. Now the test case that we should be interested now is vacate. So after vacate, we should be able to see the inventory getting updated to 1. So somebody vacated at this point of time. We have a size 1, and we should be able to add one more as well. I should have added one more car parking here. So that is why it is incremented to 1. Similarly, after this vacate also, it should be incremented to 2. So the size is 2. After initially it was 1, because I have added in between 1, because everything has become empty. I found one more parking spot, and admin has added it. Now after running this vacate, we should be 2, and we are checking for the payment. Let us check for the payment use cases here. So if we check for the payment, let me expand it and show payment. The payment is done as success. For bike, for a car it is 20. So we by default we will charge for 1 hour. Although we have done it only for few minutes, default charges are 1 hour. We are able to get the payment as well. Now again we are vacating the motorbike, so the inventory should get updated here as well. After I do the vacate, I do it here. So F9. Now if I go to the parking lot instance, we should be able to see the initial inventory. So we have parked 2 vehicles, we have vacated 2 vehicles, car, we have parked 1 motorbike, we have vacated 1. So we are able to see the inventory updated here as well. Parking spot, see 2 and 1. So we have covered all the test cases that we have done here. We are able to perform all the operations successfully. This is how you need to model it. So this question is widely asked because it is easy for people to interpret the design logic, and it is intuitive, and it can be done in whiteboarding as well. So that is why this question is asked widely. And for people who are starting up with object orientation and class modeling, this is a intuitive problem for them to understand. Please pause the video and then go through it again wherever you are stuck. You have the code cloned in your machine, and then trace through the code. You should be able to do it. And if you like the video, give thumbs up. Do subscribe to my channel if you find it useful. Until next time, when we till we look into the next design or any other videos. Thank you for your time. This is Balasubramanian. Have a nice day.